Hello everybody and welcome to a brand new deck profile. Now, today I'm profiling what's known as one of the most underrated decks. If you ever hear the term underrated thrown around in Yu-Gi-Oh, this deck probably gets put there the most. Now, Flower Cardians. This is a deck that I never really got its time to shine in pre-link format because a lot of the cards that make the deck really strong only come out in Raging Tempest, and in Raging Tempest you have things like Zodiacs, Infernoids, pretty much like everything else. But this deck actually had a little bit of success here and there, regional tops. But the reason is because the deck plays in a very unique way, and it takes a lot of time to learn how to play the deck. So yeah, onto the deck profile. Oh, before anything else, so in the extract, we do not have in the TCG Flower card in Moonflower. You can take this card out. Other than that, you kind of just want to play 3 of everything else because the deck does restrict themselves from making any other type of like extract monsters except for Flower Guardians through cards like Flower Gathering, things like when you special summon things like Flower Guardian Willow, and yeah, so you kind of don't want to go into the extract for things that are not Guardians. Although I did add 2 copies of Scaldy because in the times that we do not use a restrict, we do not summon a monster that then restricts us, Scaldy is pretty good. And I sold as well because all of our Flower Guardians are warriors. We can pick up an Isolde and then use this card to fetch any card for next turn, things like Flower Guardian Pine and such. So yeah, onto the actual deck profile. We play double Flower Guardian Palunia. This card is really good because if you control a level 11 or lower, you can special summon this card out. So the only cards you have to control to special summon it are Willow with the Calligrapher and Willow. Willow is guaranteed you'll have every turn, so this card is a free special summon. Also, it's a target for Flower Gathering, so it's very important that we play it. But I do like the second copy of it because on the off chance that your opponent doesn't read cards and they attack into it, you end the battle phase and then you draw a card. So very, very solid card there. Then we play, sorry, that was my phone. We play double Willow with the Calligrapher. So some of the Guardians have like the same version of that card, but it's sort of like an upgrade to the card. So Calligrapher is like the upgrade to Willow, as it has more attack and it has other effects. So Willow, I used to play this card at 3, but I find that this card at 3, you do want to see this card, but you will see it eventually, so you don't need to run it at 2, because with Link Summoning, getting a tuner out of the field isn't your biggest priority. And that's why, although we do play the triple Peony with Butterfly, because this card can be special summoned much easier than Willow the Calligrapher. And then this card, if it's special summonable, I mean, if this card is special summon, you draw a card, and if it's a Flower card, you need special summon it. Otherwise, you send it to the graveyard. And then the cool thing about the Guardians is that when you use them to make a synchro, all the tuner and all the other monsters are treated as level 2. So you have your level 6 synchro, your level 6s, your level 8, and your level 10. It would be pretty nice if the deck had a level 4, like if Moonflower was actually at level 4, because she's a little bit better than Boardfly. Boardfly is more of like a floodgate, she's more of like an extender. So if she was like a level 4, she'd be really, really good. So yeah. Then we play triple Willow. Willow is really nice because you special summon him by just controlling level 10 or lower, and then for the rest of the turn you cannot special summon monsters except Flower Guardians. And then the other really good effect is that once per turn you can target a card in the grave, shuffle it back into the deck, and then draw a card. So the cool thing about Willow and pretty much all of the Flower Guardians is that they are soft once per turns. So you can activate each effect per copy, which is really, really nice. So yeah, you can use Willow's effect like multiple times to like draw a bunch of cards. So really, really nice effect there. Then we played double Maple with Dia. Maple with Dia is, so you special summon this card by tributing any flower, and then you do a Cardian draw where you know, if you draw a card and if it's a card and their effects go off, and then this card can destroy a spell or trap, so it doesn't negate and it destroys. So this is really nice. I like it at 2 copies because if your opponent is playing back row, we can see this card often and we can destroy it. At 1, I feel like you won't see it enough, but yeah. And then we play double Zebra with Grass Moon, Zebra Grass with Moon. So you special summon this by tributing a level 8, so it has to be Zebra Grass. So it's, again, sort of like the upgrade, but this card is actually not a tuner, unlike Calligrapher. And then you do a Cardian draw, and if it's a Cardian, you special summon that monster. And then if this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you draw a card. So because this card is not a tuner and the only benefit we get off it is the Cardian draw into Cardian special summon, and if it destroys a monster, we draw the card. I feel like 1 is fine, so we don't really have to play more than 1. If it was a tuner, we'd probably play like 2 copies of it, but because it isn't a tuner, we'll just play 1. Then we'll play regular Zebra Grass, so if you control a level 7 or lower, you can special summon this card, and then for the rest of the turn you cannot special summon monsters except Cardians, and if this card is normal or special, you can reveal any number of Flower Cardians in your hand, shuffle them back into the deck, and draw the same number of cards. So you essentially mulligan your Cardian monsters, shuffle them back into the deck, and then draw the same amount of cards. Now, the reason that you want to play 3 copies of this card is because, yeah, you have to control a monster, but then you don't have to do a Cardian draw for its effect to go off. And the really nice thing is, when you use its second effect to mulligan, you don't have to draw Cardians, you can draw anything. So this card is really, really nice to help us look for our spells, things like your Flower Stacking and your Super Koi, as well as your Reincarnation and your Flower Gathering are essential pieces in your deck that you want to have in your hand, but you do not want to draw into them. Unless it's Reincarnation, which Reincarnation is pretty nice, and Super Koi. But yeah. And then we play triple Flower Cardian Clover with Ball. Flower Cardian Clover with Ball. So the reason, some people play this card at 2, some people play at 1, but the reason I really, really like this card is because it's one of the best forms of removal in the game, which is just non-targeting destruction. So you special summon this card by tributing any Flower Cardian, do a Cardian draw, and then you can destroy any monster your opponent controls. And yeah, so this card, you just do a Cardian draw. Even though it only has 1,000 attack, the fact that it can just destroy any monster, things that cannot be targeted, or things that can be destroyed by battle or whatever, just get rid of them. So really, really sweet effect. I love it. Then we play triple Peony with Butterfly, arguably the better tuner in one way because it has a more relevant effect. So you tribute you can tribute a Cardian, special summon this, do a Cardian draw, and if it's a Cardian, you look at the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck and place them either on the top or the bottom of the deck in any order. So you can essentially make your opponent break really hard, or if it's like, if the next 3 cards are like really good, you can just put all the cards back into the deck. So if you're playing against things like Spirals or True Dracos or whatever, you can just like mess up their whole, like you can mess their turns, you can mess their next 3 turns, essentially, if it's a deck that doesn't search a lot. Even against like things like Blue Eyes and Blue Eyes Chaos Max, sometimes like if the next 3 draws are not very good, or if I can just put them on top, like stack whichever card I want to play against, because a lot of times, like if they have things like Effect Veilers and whatever, I'll just give them the Effect Veiler because yeah, it will negate, but other than that it won't do anything. So yeah, very, very solid card, gives you access to your opponent's deck, and you can make them break really hard. And then the other effect is when it's used for a synchro material, all other materials become level 2, similarly to Calligrapher. Then we'll play triple Cherry Blossom. This is one of the best Cardians, because you special summoning it by doing a Cardian draw. If you draw a Cardian, you special summon this. So yeah, it just basically special summons itself out onto the field. But the other really nice effect is that during out of place turn, when a Flower Cardian monster battles, you can discard this card and then make the battling monster gain 1,000 attack. So it essentially acts as a hand trap. So it's a very versatile card where it can like replace itself in the hand, which a lot of Cardians do. You know, you summon it, do a Cardian draw, then the card replaces itself in your hand, so you never lose card advantage. The deck pretty much goes even all the time. And then yeah, but this card, because it's a built-in hand trap, is really nice, because a lot of times the Cardians that we want to battle with, like where is it? Zebragrass Sweet Moon, or where is it now? Oh, Crane with Pine. Basically the 2000 attack Cardians. Even cards like Peony with Phoenix, if you choose to play this card. But a lot of those times, those cards that we want to battle with, they only have like 2000 attack, and by making it 3000, it's a significant difference. And we do get the effects to go off, so yeah. Then we play one card with Pine, Crane with Pine. So Crane with Pine is pretty okay. At first I didn't really like running this card, but then I saw the benefits of it, which are, you know, you tribute your regular Pine, and you jump from 1000 attack to 2000, which is really sweet. And then if this card is special summon, you do a Cardian draw. If it's a Cardian, you special summon it. And then also at the end of the battle phase, if this card battled, you draw a card. So gives you a card. So it's pretty nice. And you do end up seeing Cardian Pine more often than not, because of cards like Flower Gathering or just Pine itself. Even cards like Stacking, Reincarnation, Super Kokoi. You always see this card, so you can use it to tribute this. So pretty nice. And then we play Flower Cardian Pine. This is the normal summon of the deck. You normal summon, do a draw, do a Cardian draw. If it's a Cardian, you get to keep it. And then if this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, or if it's in your possession and destroyed by an opponent's card effect, you draw a card. So this card, even if it gets solemned, you also draw a card, because solemn negates and destroys. So pretty nice. On the spells we play triple stacking. Stacking essentially is it's a really weird card, it's like what, but it only works in this deck. So, and it's restricted to this deck. So you choose 3 Flower Cardians with different names and then stack them on top of your deck in any order. Also, you can banish this card from the graveyard to target any Cardian in your graveyard and add it back to your hand. So this card is really, really nice. But the second effect in the graveyard, it can only be used except the turn it was activated, so it's for next turn. So really, really nice. We played 2D Synchro. This card is really nice when you combine it with things like Moonflower or pretty much your other Cardians, because it basically targets a Synchro and it desynchros it, and you get all the materials back to your hand, so you can get all of your Cardian effects, because they are not once per turn. So you can do your Cardian draws again. It's a sort of gimmicky card. Some people don't play it, but when you do see it, you can do some pretty cool stuff with it. Then we play Soul Charge, because this deck is really, really good with Soul Charge. Because things like your Light Flare do not need to be synchro summoned, so if it's in the graveyard, you can just bring it back with Soul Charge. So that's really cool. Then we play Double Super Koi Koi. I feel like 1 isn't enough, because it's both its normal effect and if graveyard effect are really, really good. And 3, it's just too much. It's too risky to play this at 3, because you definitely want to set up for this card. So essentially what it does, you excavate the top 3 cards, and if there are any Cardians among those 3 cards, you special summon them. If it's not Cardian cards, you banish them face down and you lose 1000 life points. And then you can banish this card from the graveyard to tribute special summon, essentially any Cardian from your hand, ignoring its summoning conditions. So this card is really good. For me, its graveyard effect personally is a lot better than its normal effect, so even if I send this to the graveyard off Cardian draws, it's absolutely fine. So yeah. Then we play Triple Reincarnation. This card is like Monster Reborn. Well, it's sort of like Monster Reincarnation, Monster Reborn in one card, because what it does, it targets a Cardian in your graveyard, adds it back to your hand, and then you can special summon any Flower Cardian from your hand, ignoring its summoning conditions. And the second effect is if this card is sent to the graveyard by the effect of any Flower Cardian, you can excavate the top 5 cards of your deck and then add any spell trap add 1 spell or trap among them to your hand. So this card can search pretty much any spell or trap once it's sent to the graveyard. So it's a really nice card. Before, combining this card with things like Vanity's Fiend was... no, Vanity's Emptiness. Yeah, the trap was really, really nice, because if you didn't open up with Vanity's Emptiness, using this card would guarantee that you'd get it, and then you could just add it to your hand. So really, really sweet. And then we play the Triple Flower Gathering. So this card special summons any 4 Flower Guardians with 100 attack, but with different names. And those 4 targets, as you can see in the picture, are Zebra Grass, Willow, Pine, and Palunia. So, you know, because they all have 100 attack. Pine, Zebra Grass, Palunia, and Willow. So yeah. You special summon them from your deck in attack position. Their effects are negated and they cannot be tributed except for a tribute summon. But what you can do is a tribute special summon, essentially, where we tribute to then special summon. But they cannot be tributes. They cannot be used for tribute summons. And then you can only use this card once per turn. So it's actually the only card that has a hard once per turn, I believe. Yeah, I believe it's the only card that has a hard once per turn. And then for the rest of the turn, you cannot normal or special summon monsters except for Flower Guardians. So the card does a lot, but then it also like restricts you a little bit. But that's absolutely fine because it's sort of like the speed of the deck. Onto the extra deck, we'll play Triple Light Flare. This is your big boss monster, sort of like what you want to have when going first, because it has 5,000 attack. And then if once per turn, when your opponent activates a spell or a trap card, you can negate it and then destroy that card. And then the other effect is that if a flower monster you control battles an opponent's monster, that opponent's monster has its effect negating during the battle phase only. So cards that, you know, protect themselves or whatever, their effects don't count because it's negated. So even cards that, like, for example, banish dot decks, you know, like Green Manjo or whatever it's called, the card that basically gets attack from cards in the banish zone. This Light Flare just destroys it because it's an effect and the card gains the attack boost. The attack boost of the card is an effect, so that effect is negated and that card becomes 0 attack. So essentially any card that has like attack boost by having cards in the grave or whatever, or even things like Crystal Wing, this just destroys it because it negates when it battles. And if this card was synchro summoned and then it's destroyed by battle or leaves the field because of an opponent's card effect, you can special summon any Flower Guardian synchro monster from your deck. So usually if your Light Flare gets destroyed, you'll bring out Light Shower, or sometimes you can actually bring back a Butterfly, because Butterfly is a floodgate. But yeah, so if you soul charge this Light Flare, the second effect of bringing out a monster from the extra deck does not count. It won't work. So yeah. And then we play the Triple Light Shower. This is arguably one of the best Flower Guardian synchros, because when your opponent draws a card for their draw phase, they take 1,500 damage. And also, your opponent cannot target Flower Guardian monsters you control with card effects. And they cannot be destroyed by card effects. So your Flower Guardians are all protected. And the other effect is that during your opponent's end phase, you have to activate one of these effects. You either skip your own draw phase, or this card has its effects negated. Skipping your draw phase is not a drawback at all because the deck does a lot of drawing itself. Then we play the Triple Butterfly. So what this card does is that all of your Flower Guardian monsters, all of your Flower Guardian monsters have piercing, and also you can banish one Flower Guardian from your graveyard, and until the end of your opponent's next turn, your opponent cannot activate effects in the graveyard. Also, they cannot special summon from the graveyard. So decks like Paleo, Infernoid, those types of decks, Butterfly just completely destroys them because they just can't access the graveyard. As simple as that. Then we play the Triple Moonflower. This card is an OCG card. When it does come out, it'll make the deck a little bit better. But I never see myself needing it unless I want to like just flex on my opponent and draw a bunch of cards. So this card, you do a Cardian draw. Well, it's not even a Cardian draw. You skip your draw phase to draw a card, and then if it's a Flower Cardian, you can special summon it. If it's not, you get to keep it. And if it's a Flower Guardian monster, you can special summon it, ignoring its summoning conditions, and then it can attack directly. Because it's a tuner, when this card is used for a synchro, all the other monsters are level 2. So yeah, pretty nice. Finally, to wrap up, I already covered Isolde, where, you know, if it's link summon, you can add any warrior, but then you cannot normal summon it, set it, or special summon it, and its effects of the monster with that name, you cannot activate effects of the monster with the same name. I rarely see myself making this. This is just to fill up extra deck space. But in case you do want to add any Flower Guardian, you can. And then Scaldy. Wait, what the hell? Oh, I took out one Scaldy. Oh, whatever. Scaldi, it's really good because you can make it with ease as long as you don't restrict yourself from then just making full Cardian. So you have to be careful when you want to make Scaldi. You can even play Grinder Golem in this deck because the deck has plenty of extra deck space. And, you know, Scaldi, if you use 2 monsters, any monster that's normal special under it against 300 deck. If you use 3 monsters, you can special summon 1 monster from your hand. And if you use 4 monsters, you can draw 3 cards and then place 3 cards in the bottom of your deck from your hand, so you +1 off it. So yeah, that about wraps up my Cardian deck profile. It's a very explosive, fast, swarmy deck. Very underrated, a lot of good effects. If your opponent doesn't read the cards, they don't know how to play against it, and the deck can perform pretty nicely. So yeah, if you guys did enjoy this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, where I can so you can see me upload more Yu-Gi-Oh deck profiles. For now, I'm just going to keep doing deck profiles. I don't think I want to deviate too much from that. I don't think I have a big enough channel to do things like discussions, and to be honest, I don't really want to because there's plenty of other channels that do that. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.